South Africa's medicines regulator has registered an HIV prevention vaccine. This will be administered to people at a high risk of infection who weigh 35 kilograms or more. It will not be used for pregnant women because of safety concerns. Joining us is Tohlang Sehloho, Senior Manager of Clinical Evaluation and Management at the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority. Tohlang, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Now, we talk about high-risk individuals. Who are these high-risk individuals?
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Yes, high-risk individuals would be those that are normally at high risk for contracting HIV and AIDS. And those would typically be your sex workers. Those would typically be transgender men and cisgender women who have sex with men. Those are the key demographics that would be at high risk. And of course, there are in between high risk groups that obviously will be determined by a clinical assessment or a psychosocial assessment in terms of whether they would be appropriate for this kind of intervention. Yes.
Now, we know that this jab is available in the United States. It's also available closer to home in Zimbabwe. I think they've started using it, or certainly are carrying out trials. But it's not automatic that because other countries are using a particular medicine that we would do the same. So what has been the process in getting to this final stage of approval?
Yeah. The United States were the first to register it in December 2021. And a couple of other countries followed. Now, because we are let me put it like, we are a stringent regulatory authority, and we have our own standards, which are aligned with international standards. But there is something that is called due diligence that we have to perform before we can pronounce on whether a medicine that is proposed to be introduced into the country is safe, effective, efficacious, and of good quality. So those processes were undertaken, obviously based on the clinical part, based on clinical trial results, and the quality parts based on the quality development aspects of the drug. So we did not automatically take the FDA's word for it. We did our own investigations, our own assessments, and came to the conclusion that this is appropriate for approval in this country. Yes.
Now, obviously, for a country with the high level of HIV that we do have, it is obviously a welcome development. Now, talk to us about how does Kevlar actually work? From what we understand, it is an injection. How often are individuals expected to take it? Do you only take it once and never again? Almost like a normal vaccine that some will take?
No. Remember, it's indicated to prevent HIV in high-risk individuals, and the assumption is that the high-risk behaviors would continue until there is some intervention of some sort. But the assumption is that it will be used lifelong, and as we study it, obviously, we will be able to determine the safety profile if used for a long period. But yes. How it works is that it has two components. You have a tablet component where what we call a lead-in treatment, a lead-in regimen, where eligible patients, eligible individuals will be started on a once daily tablet regimen for a month. And the aim of that is to establish tolerability for cabotegravir. And as soon as that has been settled and the treating practitioner or the treating practitioner is satisfied that the patient can sufficiently tolerate the product, then we start on a monthly, for 2 months, monthly injections, and then after that it will be two monthly injections. 2 monthly injections have been found to be as effective as the current PrEP, if not better.
Now, this is obviously the preserve of high-risk individuals. Do you not expect a sudden surge in call misdemeanor or incidents of, or the prevalence of, I suppose the question I'm trying to ask is, if these individuals that are at high risk now have a preventative that they can take, will it not encourage them to continue in their high risk behavior?
Yeah, that's human behavior. That's human behavior. You do get some people who take advantage because there's something that they can use to sustain their high-risk behavior. But obviously, because there's a prescription-only medicine, I'm sure our prescribers will be responsible enough to be able to tell which which individuals really need it, and which just need it for to enhance their lifestyle choices and all of that. So we do expect a lot of scrambling for this, just to perpetuate high-risk behaviors. But our healthcare workers are responsible enough to be able to tell whether a person really needs this, or it's just a hype to start going to town on things.
Interesting. But Tohlang, you will appreciate that many individuals that contracted HIV were not at high risk behavior. It was just a chance encounter that resulted in them catching HIV. So is it only the preserve of those that are currently high risk? What about regular citizens that feel, you know what, I may be at some risk but not necessarily high?
Yeah, no, I get your point. I get your point that a lot of people who contracted it, didn't even know. Some it, followed them into their homes and all of that. They were hardly high-risk individuals. But in terms of clinical trial results and how the clinical trials were designed, high-risk individuals were targeted, and obviously that does not include moderate or less risk individuals. So while it is being indicated for that demographic, I'm sure prescribers will be able to use their discretion in terms of who would be at high risk. You look at the gender power relations in our country. I'm sure there's an individual who can advance a very persuasive argument to say, look, in my relationship, I'm at the mercy of my husband or of my wife, and I'm afraid of catching this. Can I be assisted? So in terms of clinical practice, obviously there will be some adjustments in terms of the indications that have been registered. But I'm sure doctors will be able to determine and expand the definition of high risk outside the clinical trial population.
Now let's talk about accessibility. Where is it available? When will it be available? Will it be available throughout the country? And is it immediate?
Yeah, we only registered it last week. Now it's up to the company because now it has been approved. They can market it. It's up to the company in terms of what strategy they're going to use. Are they going to seek that it be integrated into programmatic HIV campaigns? Are they going to concentrate on the private market? Are they going? It will just depend. We are at the mercy of the company. We don't have much say there. Suffice to say that we have approved it. We are happy with it, and we've put it out there for the company to make it accessible through whatever mechanism that they might find suitable for them.
Do you have an idea what the retail cost of the vaccine is going to be? And is it something that will be available over the counter?
No. It's a Schedule 4 preparation, and it's not really a vaccine. It's just a medicine that prevents HIV getting hold once it's introduced into the bloodstream. So it's quite a different molecule. It's not a biological molecule like a vaccine. It's a smaller antiviral medicine. So it will be available through a prescription, and obviously all the psychosocial factors, all the personal circumstances will be considered as the doctor assesses suitability with each and every prescription. Yes.
Tohlang Sehloho is the Senior Manager of Clinical Evaluation and Management at the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority. Appreciate your time this afternoon.